on the survey. So when you click on the survey, then system will give you a kind of survey form. Now, whatever the title, that's something you want to enter here. Let's say you want to enter something external registration questionnaire, right? So we can choose the options. We can give the title that is external registration questionnaire or whatever title that you want to give as per your choice. You can give any of the title here, right? And then after that, we have to click on this create. And once you click on this create, so in this case also, you are going to see the similar kind of screen what we have seen that earlier as part of the supply request template, right? So this is not the sourcing event screen. This is the survey screen. We have to create survey whenever you are going to configure any kind of questionnaire here. Okay. So now in this cases, even in this case as well, we don't have to work with this rules participant and the summary step. We have to mainly work with this content step itself. But few things I would like to highlight in the rules step that also we need to take care in case of this registration template. The first thing we have to take care about the timing information. So you might have seen that during the supplier registration session, as a customer, when we have initiated the supplier registration, then like supplier, they were having some kind of time limit, like 30 days, or you can say 60 days, 365 days, right? Or 30 hours. And they have to complete the registration process within that time frame itself. So how we are going to control the time frame? The time frame you are going to control with the help of the timing rule. So we have to only set up this due date. So whatever due date that you want to give, that is minutes, hours, days, that's something you can do that, right? Then apart from that, one more thing I would like to show you. So if you come down the side here, and in the down the side, we can see we do have one option that is the supplier management section here. Now, before going to talk about this, even during interview, you may get this kind of questions as well. Let's say customer having the two different set of the questionnaire as part of the external registration questionnaire, right? And by default, they would like to send both the questionnaires, or might be by default, they would like to send only one set of the questionnaire to supplier, and one questionnaire will be the optional. And based on the requirement, if customer they want to send, then only they have to send it. Otherwise, if they want to ignore, they can ignore. So that means what they are expecting, their expectation is that one questionnaire should come by default, right? Then second questionnaire we have to make it optional, right? And if they require, they can send it. Otherwise, if they want to ignore, they can ignore as well. It's completely their choice. How you can achieve this kind of requirement? So in these cases, whatever the questionnaire that you want to make by default, that means mandatory. Here we have to select the options as it is questionnaire required? Yes. So whenever you are going to choose the options of the yes here, that means is questionnaire mandatory? Yes. So we have to select the options as yes. Then by default, this questionnaire will populate automatically in the selected mode. Okay. Even user will not have any kind of options as well to uncheck that because we have designed as that mandatory, right? And for the other questionnaire, if you want to make it optional, then we have to choose the options of the no. Then this set of questionnaire will also be available during the registration process. But based on the choice, if supplier they would like to send this questionnaire, they can select and they can send. Otherwise, if they want to ignore, they can ignore. It's up to their choice. Okay. So these two things we have to actually take care. Then apart from that, we have to come to this content step here. And in the content step, whatever the questionnaire, that's something you want to include. So in this cases, since we are creating the new one, that's why we can see, this information is blank. Otherwise, in the standard system, you will have the list of the questionnaire, right? So based on the requirement, whatever the questionnaire, that's something you want to config, you can config. And even how you want to design, we can design as per your choice as well. So let's say you want to include some kind of like different questionnaire sheet, right? So if you want to include the questionnaire inside the section, then click on the add drop down, then choose the options of the section. And once you click on this section, then in that case, system will give you this kind of screen. Okay. Now, whatever the input that you want to give here, you can give. Let's say I want to give something general informations. Here we can just put something general information section name, and then we have to click on this OK. And once you click on this OK, you can see this section has been added. Okay. Now, whatever the questionnaire that you want to include in this section, we can include. Let's say I want to include the supplier name field here, right? So for that, we have to select the questionnaire and then go to the add drop down, click on this question. And here I'm just going to put the supplier name. So I'll type something supplier legal name, right? And with the reference of this questionnaire, whatever the answer type, that's something you want to choose. So I think we have to give the text answer type that we have to enter, right? So we can choose the text here. And then after that, we have to click on this done. And once you click on this done, then here we can see supplier legal name has been added. Okay. Now, similar way, let's say we have to add one more questionnaire, that is supplier address. We'll go to the add drop down and then click on this question. And here I'm just going to type this something supplier address. We can just type this supplier address, and in the answer type we have to choose the address, that is the address here. Even you can choose extended address or address, whatever you can choose, right? And then we have to click on this done. Similar way, the address will get added here. Okay. So we can see the benefit of this answer type is that since we have selected the address answer type, this kind of information is populating automatically, that is state, state to district, postal code. We don't have to enter manually, right? So this is the benefit selecting the like a standard answer type. Even we don't have any custom answer type options as well. We have to go only with the standard. Okay. Now let's talk about one important interview questions here, and that is the real-time things. Now, if you see, let's assume this questionnaire is already configured in that standard template, right? But currently what is happening, whenever we are after creating the supplier request, whenever we are initiating the supplier registration process, right? So in the supplier registration process, the supplier name and the supplier address information, supplier has to enter manually. Okay. So supplier is going to put this information manually. And in this cases, we are having some kind of variation because internally, while filling the supplier request form, whatever the name and the address we have entered, right? There's something sometimes it's not matching because system allowing supplier to system is going to ask to supplier to enter those informations manually in their cases, right? So now what we can do in that cases, because this information, since as a customer we have entered while filling out the supplier request form, so the expectation is that why not this information system should copy automatically from the supplier request to supplier registration, right? Because earlier we have entered manually and again supplier going to enter this information manually. So definitely in this case is we are going to increase the manual activity, manual effort, right? That is not really so good, not the best practice. So this information should automatically populate and supplier will have the options to review it. They can review that. If some information is incorrect, they can change it. Otherwise, if the information is okay, then they will move further. How we can do that? So how we can achieve this kind of scenario? So in these cases, what we have to do? In these cases, we have to make sure whatever the supplier field mapping that you defined, you have added or it is added in the supplier request template. The same supplier mapping should be available in the registration questionnaire as well. So for example, let's say in the supplier request template, in the supplier name field, mapping is just something vendor.legal.name, right? Just for example. So same way we have to come here, or you can copy the supplier field mapping informations from the here. Then come to the registration template and open the particular questionnaire, which value you want to auto populate. And then we have to mention the same supplier field mapping here. So whatever the field name that is here in the supplier request, The same field mapping we have to actually provide here as well. Okay, so usually this kind of questions you may expect during the interview as well. These are the real-time questions, and it's very simple. We have to tell them, like, we have to make sure supplier field mapping should be same in supplier request and the registration template for that particular questionnaire. Okay, so like that, whatever the input you want to give, you can give the input, and like that we can add some list of the questionnaire here. Okay, now let's talk about one more real-time case. Now, sometime in some cases it may happen, or let me share my my current project example. So currently, my customer is from the Middle East region, and they are having such kind of policies. If supplier is a local supplier, so they have to submit the different kind of documents, right? And if supplier is from the international overseas supplier, then they don't have to take care about the local document. They have to submit the international document, right? For example, let's say we are in the India region, and in the India we do have the GST taxation, right? So whenever you are going to ask any kind of taxation certificate, so from India region, you have to ask, please provide the GST certificate, GST IN certificate, right? But when you are going to ask the taxation informations from the overseas vendor, let's say from the USA vendor, so they will not have the GST IN certificate. They will have VAT certificate. They will have something commercial registration certificate, right? So then in that cases, what customer they are expecting, they are having 4 to 5 questionnaire, but those questionnaire they want to populate only if the vendor is belonging locally. Otherwise, if vendor is from the overseas, then in that cases the other questionnaire should populate. So let's say, for example, what I will do just to bit, like explaining in better way, I will just add one section here. Then we'll add few questionnaire. So what I'll do, I'll go to add, click on this section. I'm just going to add some section here as that additional information. Click on this. Okay. Okay. Now in this cases, or let me just take this. Just a moment. Okay. Let's take the example here. Local vendor. Okay. Overseas vendor. Right. Now this is the requirement customer they have, or you can add the multiple questionnaire as per your choice. Okay. So in these cases, if you see customer, they are having these two questionnaire, that is local vendor. Yes. Then please provide GSTIN certificate. And in case of this local vendor, their customer, they are not expecting that system should ask that VAT certificate informations as well, right? They are expecting only system should ask about the GSTIN certificate. Otherwise, if supplier is saying I am the international vendor, overseas vendor, then in that cases, they are expecting to have the VAT certificate, not the GSTIN certificate. How we can achieve this kind of scenario? Because in this kind of scenario, so even here we can see only one questionnaire, but in case if you go with some other customer, they may have around 10 questionnaire for local supplier and international supplier. Then how we can achieve this kind of requirement? So in these cases, you can't say like we have to create the two different set of the questionnaire. That's something not acceptable, because apart from this 10 questionnaire, the other questionnaire is common for both. So why unnecessary we have to repeat the same activities for the other, like that is international supplier or local supplier? That's not a good practice. So how we can control this kind of thing? So let's see. So whenever you are having such kind of requirement, then what you can do, you can basically define some questionnaire there. So how to define? We can come to this template level, right? And since we are going to keep the questionnaire in this section additional informations, we have to select this section. go to the add and then choose the options of the question here. So once you come here, then here we have to select the options, like we can give some answer questions, that is something vendor type, right? And then with the reference of this, whatever the answer type that we want to give. So in this cases, we want to give the local and international vendor options. So definitely in this cases, your answer type is not going to help you because those are the predefined, and local vendor and the overseas vendor, that is our choice, right? Then what we can do in that cases, we have to add the pick list value, that is drop down value. And how to add the drop down value? We can come to the acceptable values, then click on the drop down and choose the options of the list of choices. Okay. So once you choose the list of choices here, then here we can add the choice. Let's say I'm just going to add something local vendor. We can add few more options here, overseas vendor. Like that we can add here, right? So like that, whatever the value that you want to put, we can put. And then we have to click on this done. Once you click on this done, then if you see this vendor type field has been added here. Okay. And whatever the options that you selected, local vendor, overseas vendor, that is populating here. All right. Now next you want to put more questionnaire here. So let's say I'm just going to add one more questionnaire here. So we'll go to the add, choose the options of the question. And I'm just going to copy these questions from here itself. So we'll copy this, add this, provide GSTIN certificate. And we're talking about the certificate, so we can choose the answer type as certificate, or we can choose the options about the attachment as well. It's up to your choice. I'm just going to choose the attachment. And then we have to click on this done. And once you click on this done, you can see this questionnaire has been added. Right. Now, same way, I'll add one more questionnaire that is applicable for the overseas vendor. So we'll select this, go to the add drop down and click on the options of the question. And in this case as well, we'll copy the questionnaire about the VAT certificate. We can copy this. We can come here, put the questionnaire, provide VAT certificate, and answer type we can choose as an attachment here. Okay. And then after that, we have to click on this done. So we can see now we have added this vendor type, local or international vendor. Then we have added this GSTIN certificate and the VAT certificate informations here, right? And even one more thing you can see in the vendor type field, by default, it is showing the local vendor, right? So that means this is not the correct. So by default, might be customer, they are expecting to see the blank value or unspecified value. So that something is also possible. We can go to this questionnaire, click on the edit. And here we have to come down the side. We can see local vendor showing as the by default. So we have to simply click on this set default once again. And once you click on this set default once again, you can see this is gone. Right. Now click on this done. And once you click on this done, you can see now by default it is showing as unspecified. So overall, whatever the requirement customer they gave us, that's something we have added here. But now we have to check the visibility control, because this GSTIN options will only be available if vendor will select local vendor. And this VAT certificate should only be visible in case if the vendor will select in overseas vendor. Then how we can do that? How we can control this kind of thing? So in these cases, we have to define the visibility conditions. And how to define? So whatever the questionnaire that you want to control, you want to make it, you want to apply the visibility condition. You can go to the particular questionnaire here. So click on the drop down, then click on this edit. And once you click on this edit, then down the side, we can see we do have the option about the visibility conditions. Okay. So once you come here in the visibility conditions, click on this drop down. So we have not created any kind of visibility conditions, so we have to create. So click on this create condition. And once you click on the create condition, system will show you the list of the questionnaire, whatever the different questionnaire that that whatever questionnaire that you created in that section, that will be available there, right? So here we have to choose the main questionnaire, that is the vendor type. And once you choose the vendor type, so in this cases we have given the value, that is local vendor, overseas vendor, right? So now in this cases, so in this questionnaire, what we are checking here, that is about GSTIN certificate. So expectation is that this should populate whenever supplier they will choose as a local vendor. So what we can do, we can give the vendor type as a local vendor. Okay. So that means whenever the supplier they will choose the vendor type as a local vendor, then only this questionnaire, that is provide GSTIN certificate, should be visible, or it will be visible there. Okay. Then apart from that, if you want to control the another questionnaire, that's something also we can do that. So we can go to the next questionnaire, click on the drop down, click on this edit. And this questionnaire we would like to populate if the supplier they are going to choose the vendor type as the overseas vendor. So same way, come down the side, click on this visibility conditions, and then so this is the conditions we created earlier, but this is not going to work in these cases. So same way, click on this create condition, then choose the main questionnaire based on this, based on which you want to have the visibility control. Then here we can enter this answer type, overseas vendor. So whenever the supplier they will choose the overseas vendor as a vendor type, then only this questionnaire will be populated. So like that, we do have the flexibility. We can control the visibility of the questionnaire as well. So this is a common scenario that you may see while working on the implementation project, right? So like this, you have to do the adjustment in different questionnaires. So we can see here, we can see it is showing the symbol here, that is about the conditions. Now we can see, if you want to see the conditions, click on this symbol. Then we can see vendor type equal to local vendor. Then this will be applicable. Then you can click on here. You can see vendor type equal to overseas vendor. Then only this will be available there. So like that, whatever the particular visibility conditions you want to, like add, you can add. And like this, we have to configure the different kind of questionnaire, whatever the questionnaire that customer they have requested. And then after that, if you're okay with this, then we have to follow the same process. We have to go to the template workspace. You can review all the informations. And then if you want to activate this template, so in this case also we can see we don't have any kind of test options here. Okay. So in this case as well, if you want to like test this template, so first we have to publish this template. Then similar way we can come to the actions menu, click on the publish, we can publish the template. Or even sometime it may also happens, let's say we have done some kind of configurations, right? But we realize that we have done some kind of mistake, and we are unable to find out that particular mistake or the issues where you do have the issues where you miss the informations. Or even you don't want to publish this template, whatever the adjustment you made here, that is only for learning purpose. Then in that cases, if you want to revert the template, we can do the revert as well. So we can click on the revert. System will revert the entire configurations, and the template will be available as it is earlier available. Okay. Any questions here from anyone? Team, are you getting me?
Yes,
Yeah,
Rohit.
Rohit.
These are the very important topic. Okay, so please make sure to understand very carefully. Otherwise, definitely in real time we have to apply all these things, like while working on the implementation project. Okay, customer they may give you different kind of scenarios as well, and if your basic is clear, like this kind of things, then definitely you will able to map the requirement in this questionnaire. Otherwise you will face lots of challenges. And also these are the important from the interview perspective as well, because these are the things we are doing in the real time. Okay. Now what I will do, I'm not going to activate this template, right? So what I will do, I'll come here, I'll click on this revert, and once I click on this revert, then system will revert the changes, right? So once you click on this OK, then if you see what system will do, system will revert all the configuration changes, whatever the configuration changes you made. You can see now this template has been reverted successfully, and status you can see it is showing as the active, and version it is showing as a 344 here. So like that we can make any kind of changes, right? Then similar way, same process we have to apply in the supplier qualification and the preferred supplier. I believe now you understood about how to design the SLP template, right? One more important thing I would like to share here that is important in the real-time perspective. Sometime it may happens, right? So initially, let's assume customer they have requested to configure some kind of informations. You have configured, you have activated the template. Then after some time, some more adjustment happen with the template. Then after 6 months, after 1 year, customer realize that like, oh, we did some kind of mistake. Okay. Or not only after 6 months or after 1 year, even in few days as well, supplier they may, sorry, customer they realize that they made some kind of mistake and this information should not be available there. Like same thing happened with me as well. So in my current implementation, we have deployed this SLP module, but customer they realize that there is some issues in the questionnaire, even in the approval workflow as well, right? And they have requested us to redesign the approval workflow once again. Usually we are not taking after deployment because this will go as part of the change request, right? But on some special request we took this and still it's going on. So whatever deployment that we made, that is still you can say freeze, right? And we are redesigning this SLP template once again. So sometime it may happen you would like to revert the previous version of the template. So for example, you can see it is showing this version 344 here, right? Now let's assume this version is not correct because you can see in the documents tab, it is showing, it seems the external registration questionnaire is missing here. Someone has removed. Now what we can do, we do have the two options. One option is that either we can reconfigure this external registration questionnaire once again, or else we can retrieve the previous version of the template. So how we can do that? So in that cases, what we can do, and this is not applicable only in case of the SLP template, for other template also it is applicable. Okay. Then how we can do that? For that, we have to come to the overview tab, go to the version history, and whatever the version that's something you would like to choose. Let's say we would like to enable this version 338. We can click on this version drop down, then click on this open. And once you click on this open, so you can see this version, this template version is archived because currently we do have the something 344 version, right? But we would like to republish this version. That means we want to retrieve this version of this template version. So we can come here, go to the documents tab. You can validate the informations here. It looks like these are the informations it was available earlier, and we want to go with this. Then we can go to the overview tab, go to the actions, and you can see we do have the options of the new version. So we can click on this new version, and once you click on this new version, then system will create the new version of this template from this version itself, not with the current version. So even though current version is the 344, system will not consider the 344. System will consider that is something you can system will consider that 338 version, right? So from 338 version itself, it will create the new version. Now if you come to documents tab, you can see questionnaire is available here, right? Earlier we have not seen that. Now it's available, and you want if you want to retrieve this, we can just go to overview tab, click on this actions, and click on the publish. So once you click on this publish, okay, some kind of error message is there. So once you click on the publish, then system will do the validation, and accordingly it will tell you this kind of differences is there, right? Then if you're okay with this, we can come to this overview tab, go to the actions menu, click on this edit properties. Then here we have to choose the option that is skip pre-publication validation. So we have to say yes, we would like to skip this, and then click on the save. And once you click on the save, then again go to the actions, click on the publish. Again, system will do the validation. It will ask you reason or your explanation why you want to activate this template. Whatever justification you want to give, you can give. I'm just going to copy and paste for time being. But in the real time, we have to give the proper justification because this will come as part of the audit, right? And then click on this OK. So if you see, the previous version template will be activated now. Now you can see current version is 345, status active. If you go to documents tab, we can see our questionnaire available here. Okay. So these are the real time